Hello, everyone! Welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 259. I'm your host, Andrew Eisen. And I am here to yammer incessantly about stuff that really doesn't matter, but I find of interest, and I hope you do too. So this week, saw the premiere of the first episode of the first season of the first television adaptation of the Child's Play IP, Chucky. Silly Chicken, hello. So, yes, Child's Play, the killer doll horror franchise, has now jumped from feature theatrical films to direct-to-video films, now to a television series on the Sci-Fi, because if they're going to spell it like that, that's how I'm going to say it, Sci-Fi Channel, and the USA Network channels. Luckily, unlike the television version of USA, at least my memory of it from the 90s, they're okay with F words, and there's some gore, so hopefully the version I saw wasn't edited. There was some odd editing, but it didn't seem to be cutting around gore, so... Now, I am a big fan of the Child's Play. I'm a big fan of horror anyway, and Child's Play, that franchise, has always been one of my favorites. It's an interesting franchise to me because it is one of the only things that my mom wouldn't let me watch when it came out. 88, I think, when I was 8 years old. By that point, I'd seen, Nightmare on Elm Street and the Friday the 13th movies and other stuff. There were very few things Mom wouldn't let me watch, which is why I was surprised when she was reticent to allow me to see the Child's Play movie. I found out why years later, and this is a fine explanation. And the reason Mom didn't want me to see that movie when I was 8 was because it's about a doll that betrays the trust of the child that owns it. And Mom was uncomfortable with that, such a close-knit betrayal of trust. That, she felt, hit a bit too close to home in some personal respects. So, that was why she didn't want me to see Child's Play. By the time the sequels came out, I think 2 and 3 were like 90, 91, somewhere around there. Rented them from, the video store, which was a thing when I was a kid. You youngins probably don't know what that is. Video store? Wait, you had to, go outside to a store to borrow a physical copy of a movie to watch? Weird. Yeah, there's also this thing called a phone book. It was a book full of everyone's phone numbers, because our phones had no ability to actually record numbers on them. You couldn't just look them up in a little digital address book. No, you had to look it up in a big thick book. Wow, that big thick book contained every single number of everyone ever? No, just anyone who lived in your area code and maybe a couple of the surrounding ones. So your county. That's about it. Well, what if you had to call someone out of state? Well, then you had to know their number, or you called information. Wow. Yeah. That's the fun thing about being the age range that I'm at now, is I'm actually old enough to reminisce about stuff that the younger generation can't wrap their little minds around. That's fun. But I get to do the when I was your age thing now. Another film that... one thing I'll give my mom credit for. I'll give my mom credit for a lot of things, but one of them is she rarely ever did the because I said so or I'll tell you when you're older reasoning when I, as a child, would go, but why? She usually had a specific reason. And if she ever fell back on the I'll tell you when you're older, it was because my child brain at the time literally would not have been able to understand the answer. I'll give you an example. So, I was at summer camp, and I heard a joke. And I didn't get it. I'm guessing I heard this at summer camp. Maybe I heard it on the playground at school. Doesn't really matter. But I heard a joke. A dirty joke. Filthy joke. And so I told it to my mother. Because I didn't understand it. Here's the joke. Let me see if I remember it. It is... What is the similarity between women and spaghetti? They both squirm when you eat them. Now, as a 6-year... That's a... Number one, it's not a very good joke. Now that I'm 41, I get it. It's just not very funny. It's not even groan-worthy. It's not even particularly filthy. It's just kind of dumb. But as a 6-year-old, I genuinely did not understand that joke. I mean, I get the idea of spaghetti squirming when you eat it, especially if you grab one end of a noodle and go, and it goes floppity floppity flop. Okay, squirm is not exactly the verb I'd use to describe that motion, but alright, I get it. But as a 6-year-old, I thought about the other half of that joke. And I thought, but you don't eat people. I thought with a straight face. I mean, unless you're a cannibal? And I suppose if you were eating someone, like munch eating, like cannibal eating, driving teeth into flesh, yanking off chunks and swallow them kind of eating, they'd at the very least squirm, but again, not the verb I'd use to describe the reaction to having someone yank your flesh off your bones with their teeth. So I asked my mother to explain the joke to me. And she said, I'll tell you when you're older. She didn't have to. I figured it out myself later in life. But she was, as frustrating as that response always was, and that time was no exception, she was right. There was no point in explaining the joke to me now, at that point, when I was 6 or whatever, because I genuinely would not have been able to understand it. Too young. Too young. It's kind of like, some of Elvira's jokes. Even as a young kid, I loved Elvira. She was fun and she hosted cool movies. But a lot of her humor, I did not get. She told a lot of... She was a proponent of the double entendre. And I missed all of them when I was a small children. I saw Elvira, Mistress of the Dark in the theater, I believe, back in 1988 or whenever. Was that the same year as Child's Play? Back when I was very young. And I love the movie, because Elvira's fun, and it's a goofy, funny movie. I saw the movie again when I was much older, probably well into my teens. And I was like, wow. There is a lot of humor in this movie that I completely missed when I was 8 years old. One of my favorite jokes from the movie is there's some dude up on a ladder putting letters up on affixing letters to a theater marquee. You know, coming soon, movie, the movie in 3D. You know, putting letters up on a marquee. So Elvira's walking down the street, and she sees the ladder, and she's like, yeah, I'm not walking under the ladder. She moves to go around it. Dude on the ladder drops one of the letters, and it falls and bonks her on the head. And he rushes down the ladder to Elvira, and he says, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, how's your head? And she says, well, I've never had any complaints. I didn't get that when I was 8. Did not get that at all. But I get it now. There are layers to Elvira. What was I talking about? Child's Play. So, Child's Play is a horror film series that I quite like. The remake I thought was not very good. But the new series has premiered on USA and Syfy. And luckily, the first episode was available on both their sites so I could watch it, because I don't have cable television. So hopefully they continue releasing the show's episodes on their YouTube channels or their website so I could watch it, because I want to watch it, because again, I like Child's Play. So, first episode, what did I think? I did not record a debut review for it, so I guess I'll just do that here. Pretty good first start, I think. It's interesting because this one feels a lot more personal from the perspective of, is it Don Mancini, I think, is the creator? From the writing and directing. This feels a lot more personal to the creator of the show than the movies did. Like, it feels like he's telling a very personal story that he relates to. That's the feeling I get from watching it. It's not a good or bad thing. That's just an observation. So, there's a kid who's probably, I don't know how old he's supposed to be. I guess he's in high school somewhere, so mid-ish teens, 15, 16, somewhere in there. Maybe he's supposed to be a little, maybe he's supposed to be like 14, freshman, something like that, not sure. But he's, lives in a broken home. His mom passed away in a car accident, I believe, and his father either always was or has turned into a stereotype who sits on the couch and drinks and yells at his son for breaking the masculine norms. See, one of our hero, whose name I don't remember, Jeff, one thing he's into is art. Apparently his mother was an artist too, so he must get that from her. But his art manifests in, he likes making sculptures out of doll parts. And they're kind of macabre, because dolls are inherently creepy, and dolls made from doll parts is kind of weird. Of course, it's not the macabre creepiness that Dadu has problems with. It's my boys playing with dolls instead of, footballs and cars and masculine things. Very important. You can only like certain things, boy. So, he's browsing yard sales for dolls that he can pick up and harvest parts for his sculptures and such. And he sees the Chucky doll, which he picks up for $10. Now, if you've seen the films, you might be like, which Chucky doll is that, and why is it here? Don't know yet. But from what I understand, Andy Barclay, the Alex Vincent, the same guy, he's in a voice cameo, and I do know that Jennifer Tilly's Tiffany is going to be here. Fiona Dourif, who is, her character Nika is now possessed by the soul of Charles Lee Ray. They're going to be in it. So is the woman who played Kyle back in Child's Play. There's a lot of Child's Play 2 in this. The music is cribbing the theme from Child's Play 2, and good choice. Because that bouncy toy box music is really distinctive and creepy and good. And they only used it for part 2, I think. So it's really nice to hear that come back in the capacity that it does. So he takes the Chucky doll home, and it The cat doesn't like it. Cats know. And, of course, it's alive, and it, kills the dad, who's played by Devon Sawa, so my sister probably definitely wants to watch this movie. But don't worry, Kelly. He plays twin siblings, so even though he died, he's still in the movie playing the other sibling. So you get two Devon Sawa for the price of one. Oh, Lindy, are you a Devon Sawa fan too? Yep, Devon Sawa. He plays the kid's father and uncle. So now Jeff, or whatever the kid's name is living with his uncle and cousin and aunt. That would be who she is. And of course, Chucky's with them, and he knows that Chucky is alive, but he doesn't know what to do about it yet. And he's also the school pariah who is bullied beyond belief. So it's going to be interesting to see if the show is going to be doing the Chucky is going to prey on his victimhood and his insecurity and his anger and his rage. And if try and lead him down a dark path, if that's kind of the arc of the series where we're going here. I'll be interested to see. Don't know yet, because again, only first episode. But off to a good start, I think. My one critique so far would be, with the exception of Jeff, all of the characters are really, really broad. They're really only archetypes at this point. Like the father is just a drunken, bigoted, abusive, terrible person, and there's nothing else there. The school bully is just she's the biggest bully who has ever bullied. She's just irredeemably awful. No layers there. She just sucks. His cousin is the golden boy, who's also casually bigoted, and there's really no more depth to him. But that can be okay as just for a first episode. You want to focus on your main character just so you know what's going on, and you can use those really broad brush paints to get the viewer at least up to speed in understanding the world your main character exists in. Okay, this is an awful person, he's a bad guy. This is a bully. This is someone who's an ass but maybe might be an ally, and we'll flesh them out more in subsequent episodes. I hope. So it's maybe concerning that all the rest of the characters are really surface level at this point, but I would imagine that probably changes as we get deeper into the series and learn more about them. Except his dad. We're probably not going to learn more about him. I don't know if he'll be retroactively redeemed. I would guess not. He's dead. He's probably going to stay that way. Although it does appear that the show is going to flash back into the origins of Charles Lee Ray. I'm getting very Psycho 4 vibes from this. Like they're doing that whole flashback back when I was a kid living with mother, that kind of a thing. So we'll see how that plays out. Brad Dourif is on point as always as the voice of Chucky. He has certainly not lost it. His performance is great, and I'm actually really excited to see Fiona Dourif come back into the fold and really sink her teeth into playing the body inhabited by the spirit of Charles Lee Ray. Because as you probably inferred from her name, yeah, Fiona Dourif is Brad Dourif's kid, and she looks and sounds exactly like him. So at the end of Cult of Chucky, the last movie, Chucky Ade Due Dembella, give me the power, I beg of you, does that whole thing and transfers his soul into the body of Nika, played by Fiona Dourif. And she's only possessed this is like the last couple of minutes of the movie, and her performance as Charles Lee Ray is really great. So I'm genuinely looking forward to see her really explore that role. I think that's going to be really cool. Chicago, hello. Viper, hello. Viper says, still need to watch the first episode. My partner and myself are big horror fans. Glad they got the original voice back for Chucky. Yeah, Brad Dourif has been doing, with the exception of the remake, which is a different universe thing. That was Mark Hamill. Yeah, he's done all of them. You know, as I mentioned, I know Andy Barclay's going to be in there. Kyle's going to be in there from Child's Play 2. Jennifer Tilly as Tiffany will be in there. Fiona Dourif's in there. So we're getting a lot of old characters. What I'll be really interested in is if Chucky's kid, Glenda, I forget exactly what he settled on in Seed of Chucky, or she, I don't remember what pronouns they settled on. I wonder if they're coming back. That would be neat. And who did the voice? Was it Billy Boyd? I don't remember. Be interesting if that character comes back, because we've haven't heard much about that character in the last two films. So be interesting to see what happens. Lindy says, didn't they get Mark Hamill voice for Chucky for the new movie? Yes. Viper, yeah, as much as I like Mark Hamill, it wasn't the same somehow. Yeah, it wasn't. Hamill's performance was fine. The movie just wasn't great. Okay, here's my pitch. Chucky versus Chucky. Yeah? So, the good guy doll in the new Child's Play movie actually is a new product launch that exists in the world of the old Child's Play IP, and Chucky hates it and goes and kicks its ass. You know, that you want to make a Child's Play 2 in that universe, connect the universes and have the two characters fight. There you go. Lindy says, I guess we can't help but hear the Joker whenever Mark Hamill does voices. Hamill has quite the vocal range, so he has character voices that aren't the Joker, but his Chucky was in the same register, so it was pretty similar to Joker. Yeah. Chicago, I remember watching Chucky way back when it first came out. I think I also saw the second one, but I don't remember either anymore. Need to rewatch them. They all hold up to an extent. The first one is pretty solid. The second one is also pretty solid. The third one is a little goofy and kind of weird in a few respects, but overall, it's another one that just has the kind of bully that maybe I lucked out when I was young, but I've never seen anybody that hopelessly cruel. Hopelessly, willfully cruel. Indifferent, sure. Cruel, yes, but it's that kind of movie bully where it's like, oh, come on, nobody acts like that. But it's not bad. Then there was Bride of Chucky, which is really funny, and works pretty damn well. And it's where the scarred face Chucky came in, and that was a really wonderful design. It became pretty iconic for a while. Pardon me. The ending I thought was terrible. And the ending, and I mean like literally the last 30 seconds, made me go, oh, come on. No. That's dumb. And that's really what I was loving the movie, hated the last 30 seconds, and then you walk out of the theater mad. Seed of Chucky is a mixed bag. There's a lot of things that work really well and a lot of things that don't work at all. I like more of what it was trying to do than exactly how it executed. I mean, it's still got Chucky in it. It's still fun, but it's probably the one that I think it's the one that pushed as far as it could. It was like, let's see just how bonkers we can get with this, and it stepped over the line, went, oh, that's where the line is. Okay. And then you had direct to video. You had Curse of Chucky, which was pretty good. And then you had Cult of Chucky, which got weird, but was also pretty good. They all have their strengths and weaknesses. I wouldn't say that any of the original series movies are outright bad. They've all got a lot to love about them. Some are stronger than others, though. But happy to see the show off on a positive foot, and I really hope that Syfy and USA continue posting new episodes on their respective sites and channels so that I can watch them, because I don't have cable TV. I don't have TV. I have a TV, but I can only play video games or watch disc-based video. Well, it also has a Netflix app on it, so I can watch Netflix on it too. But yeah, I don't have. There's no. I don't think I can get local stations. I haven't no antenna, and I don't pay for cable. So yeah. So here's hoping. Chicago says there's a Chucky show. Yep, it just premiered this Tuesday. The first episode premiered on Tuesday, and you can currently watch the first episode on either Sci-Fi or USA Network's websites or their YouTube channels if you want to check it out. But yes, there is a Chucky Child's Play Chucky TV series. I think it's going to be 8 episodes, and the first episode aired this last Tuesday. So no idea how long they'll. I don't know if any of the subsequent episodes will be on their channels and sites, but the first one currently is. So there you go. Do I have a favorite horror movie series? Asks Viper. Yes, I've mentioned this before, but my top 5 favorite films, not best films, but my personal top 5 favorite films are Ghostbusters is number 1, the 1984 original Ghostbusters, my favorite movie. And the other 4 in no particular order are A Nightmare Before Christmas, Little Shop of Horrors, the Frank Oz musical from '86, I think, The Blues Brothers, and Jaws. So Jaws is a horror adventure movie, I suppose. But I was going to say only the first one is good, but you know what? Jaws 2's pretty good. Especially as a follow-up to, Jaws. Is it a masterpiece? Is Jaws a masterpiece? Would I go that far? Yes, I would. Jaws is a masterpiece. Very few movies that I would attribute that title to, but yeah, I can't think of anything that's just like, if it were just for this thing. No, it's great. It's great. It is flawless. But what is my favorite horror movie / horror series? A Nightmare on Elm Street. Part 3, Dream Warriors, is my favorite. I wouldn't say it's the best of the series, but I would say it's my favorite. Freddy Krueger is my favorite horror movie villain. Not too surprising that my favorite slasher is also in my favorite horror film series, but yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street's my favorite horror series. I might have to turn in my horror fan card, but you know what series and slasher I'm not a huge fan of? Halloween. I'm sorry, I don't think even the first one. It's good. I recognize the competence and how well made and thought out it is. for the most part. But I actually watched Halloween like a month or two ago again, and I'm like, I see what everyone likes about it. I just don't find it that entertaining. I don't find Michael Myers that interesting. I've seen all the Halloween films except the Rob Zombie films and the new ones. The one that came out in 2018, the one that just came out. I would like to see them, just haven't seen them yet. Yeah, you know Halloween 3 is the best Halloween. Not because it doesn't have Michael Myers in it. Michael Myers doesn't ruin the movies, and they're not bad. Well, some of them are bad. 6 is terrible. 5's not very good either. 2's okay. 4's alright. H2O has its moments. Resurrection has some good ideas, but overall is pretty garbage. Am I missing any? And I have not seen the Rob Zombie or the new ones. But Season of the Witch is genuinely a great Halloween movie. Not just Halloween, Michael Myers Halloween, but a for-the-season Halloween movie. Let me, show and tell time. You guys stay right here. I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. I'm watching you. Okay, I'm back. Look what I got. For my younger audience, this is called a VHS tape. This is what we used to... This is what DVDs used to be. They're on magnetic reel-to-reel tape. You know? You put it in a head. Where's the... There we go. You put it in a head, it reads it, the whole thing spins, and it's great. It's great, it's great. Isn't that damaged easily? Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty fragile. But, yeah, Halloween 3. This is a great movie. This is about a cult who, has this plan to use ancient magics to, broadcast a signal that will turn children's heads to bugs. So they sell these little Halloween masks. Here we go. We can kind of get a picture here. You see this kid in the pumpkin mask there? So they sell these Halloween masks that have this piece of Stonehenge in them, I think is what it is, and they broadcast a signal which turns everyone who's wearing one of these masks, turns their heads into bugs. So the movie just kills a bunch of kids, and I can get behind that. Chicago says, ooh, do we get to see more of your toys? Sure you do. Oh, and while I was in my drawer of VHS tapes, I also said, well, I may as well show off that, yeah, I have the VHS tapes for the first Chucky movies, too. I don't have... Now, I don't know that, like, Seed of Chucky or any of the later ones were ever actually released on VHS, but I do have the first 4 movies on VHS, so son, 2 more days to Halloween, 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 2 more days to Halloween, Silver Shamrock. Yeah, that catchy damn jingle, that's from Halloween 3. You want to see something else that's kind of funny? This actually surprises me every time I go into my drawer of VHS. You gotta see this. Hang on a second. Now, I imagine my younger viewers do not really have a good concept of VHS. What did the... Here's a VCR. This is this is this is the gigantic damn thing that actually plays these tapes. They go in here. Look how gigantic this goddamn thing is. Every time I open that drawer, I am amazed at how damn big a VHS deck is. So, oh, Lindy says, do I still have the VCR? Yes, does it still work? I have not plugged it in a long time, but, let's see. Well, I'm getting lights. So, yeah, looks like it. So I don't have an electrical outlet near me, and I'm kind of afraid to stick a tape into it. Do I have a VHS rewind machine? Nah, you can rewind it using this, but yeah. So let me compare it to some of my consoles. Yeah, this is by far much bigger. I have a PS3 and a PS4 sitting over here, much bigger. You know, here we go. Switch. Yeah. And, yeah, so we did it big in the 80s. And what's funny, if you crack this open, if you take the case off, you would actually be surprised, and this is true of a lot of electronics from that era, this is mostly empty space. You know? The bottom is actually all a big circuit board, but if you pop the top off here, and is this held in with screws? Yeah, there's a bunch of screws in here, but if you took the top off, what you'd find is you'd see the tape deck system sitting right up here, and but most of this is just actually empty space. There's a big circuit board across the bottom. There's some electronics going in here with the buttons, but you would be surprised at how much room there are in 80s electronics. Everything from you know, tape decks to cassette tapes, boom boxes, your old cable boxes. They're mostly empty space. So, but yeah, a lot of VHS, rewind machines, for those who don't know, were these small, bespoke, well, small, they were a little bit bigger than these. And what they were is they would just, you'd stick a tape in, and it would prong the holes and just rewind the tape. You've heard the Be Kind rewind. You know, when you return tapes to the rental store, you're supposed to rewind it first. See, kids, as these reels go and the tape goes from this side to this side, you can't just play it backwards. You have to rewind the entire damn thing if you want to watch it again. That's why it's called rewind. You have to wind it. Physically, actually wind the damn thing. Now with the DVDs, the movement is on the actual player. You know, the laser head moves around to access different areas of the disc to... actually a little bit closer to like vinyl. Showtime! Okay. My best vinyl, I do not have, because I do not have a, so, you know, barbershop favorites. My best vinyls are my soundtracks for Star Wars, American Graffiti, Jurassic Park. I have some vinyls for Four Seasons. Got some great stuff, but I don't have a turntable here. So all my vinyls are at Mom's because she has the turntable. But what's interesting is that from a medium perspective, You can actually kind of teach CD and DVD technology using these because it's almost exactly the same thing. There's you've seen the little arm with the needle that sits in a place, and this spins, and as it spins, it moves towards the center. So regular CDs and DVDs kind of work in a lot of the same way when they're actively being read anyway. You kind of have a needle that sits in one place and just moves back and forth while the disc spins under it. So, works somewhat similar. So, old ass technology. No, I don't have any 8-track tapes to show off. So, I also don't have Laserdisc. Those who don't know what Laserdisc is, Laserdisc is probably one of the most obnoxious, unwieldy ones. Imagine CDs that are this big. Oh god, it sucked so much. Laserdisc was so awful. They didn't hold as much as you think they would either. Let's see if I can find anything else cool. There's something I'm thinking of. I just don't know where I have. Oh, here we go. So Laserdiscs were kind of like the 5.5-inch floppy disks, or even like the 8-inch ones. You're probably all pretty familiar with the 3.5-inch ones, you know, which was always funny because when I was a kid, I heard hard disk and floppy disk, and I'm like, but this is hard. Why is this not a hard disk? The 5.5 ones were actually floppy, so yeah, my little 80s brain had a tough time wrapping around it. By the way, this is King's Quest 3. This is my favorite of the series, King's Quest 3, to heir. H-I-E-R, as in the heir to the throne. To heir is human. I love this game. This game's great. Unfortunately, I can't actually play this game because I don't have a drive to play it. Computers have long since stopped having A drives in them, so what are you gonna do? But these actually work somewhat similarly. They move this little thing to the side. You have the tape in there, which is spun on the back, so you have something that's reading as this spins below it. So the technology actually, until we got to solid state stuff, the technology did not change that much. It's been pretty similar from this storage media all the way up to like Blu-rays. Pretty similar basic mechanics of reading information off of a medium. Then we got to solid state storage mediums, and that's very, very different. So, okay. Viper says, strange how, well, let me, Lindy, I miss the rewind machines, had them in the shape of a car. Yeah, the various video stores would have them too. You know, you just pop them in and they'd go. They were kind of like automatic card shufflers. You put in a deck of cards and it goes, and just, you know, you split a deck, put in both sides, it just mixes them together. You put in a tape, it just rewinds it real quick, and you throw it in the box, put it back on the shelf. If you have a VHS tape deck, just rewind it yourself. You don't need a bespoke one for your home, but they are kind of neat, especially if they're in the shape of a car. Chicago says 80s had big everything, hair, cars, VCRs, mobile phones. Oh, yeah. You remember car phones? Phones that went in your car? They had to be installed, because you couldn't bring a phone into your car, because they're plugged into the wall. You could only go as far as that damn little curly cord would let you. And I've seen some really long phone cords in my time. So, what else are we talking about? Let's see. We got into troubles. Little kids were using vinyls as frisbees. We didn't know any better. Oh, no. Viper says, strange how vinyl's made a comeback. A lot of video game OSTs getting re-released on vinyl in the last couple of years. Yeah, because I would imagine most people don't have turntables. I mean, that's like... well, I was gonna make a comparison to phonographs, but it's almost the same technology. Um, I think probably the most difficult thing for, I would imagine, for turntables right now are getting new needles. Because as long as the hardware still works, I mean, it plugs into a wall. It spins it has a disc tray that spins. The rest of it's just mechanics, and so it probably works fine. Although because it's completely analog. Um, but you need new needles, because if your needle's bad, it can also just destroy your vinyl. So you got to be really careful with that, especially with older technology like the phonographs, because those damn things were heavy. Modern of the day turntables were a lot better about not putting a ton of weight on the vinyl itself. So Chicago says, we have a PC at work that has an FDD. It's used to control the HVAC on the center. The computer, not the FDD. Right. Okay, so in conclusion, the first episode of Chucky, the TV series, was made me want to tune into the second episode. So I hope I'm able to. I hope Sci-Fi and USA Network puts it on their site so I can watch it. And now I have to put a bunch of stuff away after the podcast. So let's talk about... Oh, and we're almost done with the podcast. I've been yammering about that forever. Good, so I don't have to talk about how stupid Netflix is. Because I don't want to. I was kind of dreading... I have the topic queued to go, but I've already talked... If you want to know my thoughts on it, it's on Twitter. I just kind of don't want to talk about it because I'm tired of bigotry right now. I'm dealing with some personal stuff that involves bigotry, and I'm just... It's exhausting. And I was like, I don't want to talk about this. So I don't think we will. Instead, let's see, I'm still that guy that buys underground CDs and have them in my car. There you go. Yeah, I have, a lot of the CDs I have, well, hey, I have CDs. This is the Nylons. This is a, a cappella group. But I also have, oh my god. I also have cassette tapes. Do you want to know what this cassette tape is? DK Jams, the original Donkey Kong Country soundtrack. This is pretty much exactly the same technology as a VHS tape. Same reel-to-reel magnetic tape that has to be rewound. So... Now, although the nice thing about cassette tapes is a lot of times they do both sides. So all you did was, you want to rewind it, you could rewind it, or you could take it out, flip it over, and just play the other side. And that default rewinds it. So this is, yeah, let's see, we've got the theme song, Simian Segway, DK Island Swing, Cranky's Theme, Jungle Groove, Cave Dweller Concert, Bonus Room Blitz, and everyone's favorite, track number 8, Aquatic Ambience. Yep. Of course, yes, I do have Donkey Kong Country 2. But most of the stuff I have on cassette tape down here. What's this? Oh, hey. Animaniacs. Let's see. Oh my god. Alright. Is, Weird Al Yankovic. And Alapalooza. Dare to Be Stupid. In 3D. Polka Party. Even Worse. Bad Hair Day. Oh, I'm sorry. That first one was actually Greatest Hits. This one is the self-titled album. Running with Scissors. Do I have any more? Oh, whoop, can't forget the food album. Do I have any more? Oh, yeah, well, there's another one. Off the Deep End. So, yeah, I'm a fan of Weird Al. Do I have any past Running with Scissors? I think I started getting them on CD because they stopped releasing them on cassette. So, what is this? Oh yeah, this is an old tape that a friend of my mom's made for me off of his, I think, vinyl recordings of Tom Lehrer. These are some recordings off of some of Weird Al's albums that before I got them that someone duped for me when I was very, very young. What else do I got in here? That's Barbershop. More Barbershop. Oh, someone made me a American Graffiti soundtrack on cassette. Yep. That's what I was looking for. And the piece de resistance. Damn, me and my rolling R's. Okay. Are you ready for this? Are you ready? Are you ready? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles coming out of their shells torn. Yep. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've got that too. Featuring such songs as Pizza Power. There are actually some You Could Count on Us. There's actually some decent songs in that show. Goofy as hell, but there were a couple bangers, as the kids might say. So. Yep. These are starting to come apart. So there we go. Let's see, what are we talking about? Oh my god, DK jams. Yep. I don't miss tapes of Fomanus. They deteriorate like crazy if you don't take care of them. That's true. Coming out of their shells tour. Never heard of that. After the movie came out, they used the costumes to do Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles live stage shows. So the conceit was the Turtles were a rock band and they were putting on a rock concert for whatever reason. And there were some skits, Shredder would try to crash the party and Splinter was there. But it was mostly just guys in turtle outfits pantomiming, playing the guitar and stuff, and putting on a rock concert. And if you were 8 years old, it was amazing. I was a teenager, so I found it incredibly charming. I didn't actually get to see the show. I've seen clips of it, but I never actually got to see it in person. But I did get the, probably for Christmas or something, got the show's soundtrack. And, honestly, some of the songs are pretty good. Not all of them, but there's a couple of them are quite solid. Okay, so yeah. Alright, I was going to talk about DC Fandome, but I didn't really watch it. I just watched all the trailers and stuff that came out of it, and my basic takeaway is DC doesn't look like it is finished with anything, because almost everything it showed was either like if it's a video game, for example, remember the if you show me nothing but concept art and behind the scenes interviews with the actors and directors and creative team of the film, I'm going to assume you haven't shot the movie yet, or at least not much of it. You don't have a lot of footage to show off. Likewise, if you're showing a video game and all you've got is pre-rendered cutscenes, do you have a game? A year ago, we saw a pre-rendered cutscene for Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League, which introduced the Suicide Squad and their task of killing the Justice League. Oh, neat. We got to see what the design was and what the basic premise was. Cool. 14 months later, alright, we've got a 3-minute trailer for you. Here you go. No gameplay. Absolutely not a smidgen, not a single scintilla, not one iota of gameplay in the 3 minutes. I'm like, what have you guys been doing for a year? 3 minutes of nothing but cutscenes telling us little more than we already knew. It's the Suicide Squad. They need to kill the Justice League. Well, I mean, now we know that the Flash is there, and Green Lantern and Wonder Woman, but, I mean, we kind of assumed that. Because they're the mainstays of the Justice League. And a lot of their presentations were like that. They either had, like, short, completely out of context clips, like they hadn't planned for the, like the DC Fandome snuck up on them, and they didn't notice. It's like, oh, shoot, here's a 40 seconds of show. So, let me go through my watch history and see if there's actually anything interesting here. They did the full trailer for the new Batman movie, which... yeah. It looks like, we're doing something really different. We're taking the real, gritty, grounded, Nolan-esque Batman stuff and we're putting a red gel on it. Maybe it'll be good, but... ugh, nothing in that trailer's doing anything for me. Ooh, the Peacemaker show looks good. It's spinning off the John Cena character from The Suicide Squad, which I still haven't seen. They actually cut a trailer for it. Looks like it could be fun. Oh yeah, they showed about 2.5 minutes of Gotham Knights, other video game, and it was all cutscenes. I don't understand why you don't want to show gameplay. Is it not ready to show yet? Again, it's been like a year. What are you guys doing? I mean, I know game development is hard. Maybe it's just not ready to show yet, but... let me know when you've got some gameplay. Batwoman Season 3 looks interesting. I saw the first episode of Batwoman. Thought it was alright. Did Batwoman get good? Maybe that's worth checking out. They're doing a new Catwoman feature-length cartoon, which looks kind of like Lupin the Third or something. Alright. They're doing a Flash movie, which obviously they haven't shot anything of yet, and I don't know why they're doing that, because no one cares about that version of the Flash, or, well, not no one, but what it seems like is they're really selling another Batman movie. It feels like they know that no one, not many, that's an overgeneralization, of course. You know, not many people seem to really be interested in this universe's Flash, and so they seem to be selling, we got Michael Keaton Batman. It's like, if you need Batman to sell your Flash movie, you might be heading in the wrong direction. Flash should be able to stand on his own. It's a great character. But, apparently they're doing a League of Super Pets movie, but they're not really interested in showing any of it. Again, still, just the title treatment and the characters standing next to the title. Although there was an extended joke of one of the dogs peeing on something. That's nice. I guess they haven't shot anything of Aquaman yet, because it was all behind-the-scenes stuff. Oh, they had a little bit of Black Adam, which looked like it was shot to be a teaser, so, okay. Shazam, also all behind-the-scenes stuff. But, you know, Aquaman and Shazam, the first movies, I thought were great, so looking forward to that. Young Justice, don't care. Aquaman, King of Atlantis, I loathe the animation style, so not gonna watch that. They have a Batman show that's What If Cars but Batman. Okay. Apparently the Teen Titans Go is going to cross over with DC Superhero Girls, and I like the DC Superhero Girls. The modern incarnation, not the first one, which is really generic and lame. So maybe that'll be cute. They seem to have a Teen Titans Go crossover with Doom Patrol, which is interesting. And apparently they greenlit Wonder Woman 3. I heard Wonder Woman 2 was very, very bad, but I haven't seen it yet, so don't know. DC was too busy watching all the Marvel movies, says Chicago. Yeah. So that was the DC Fandome, which I didn't watch. I just watched the trailers as they hit the tubes of view, which is also how I experienced, the Game Awards and Comic-Con. But last thing I'd like to talk about is Animal Crossing. I don't like Animal Crossing. I find that game boring as hell. But if we raise enough money, we'll be playing a little bit of my sister's Animal Crossing on the charity stream a couple weeks. So get those donations in. Woo! But Nintendo had a Nintendo Direct for Animal Crossing this week, and I watched it because I have to. I'm a big Nintendo dork. I know what's going on. And, let's see. So in a free update, the last free update, they added a cafe where you can sit down and make your character slurp coffee. They've got new things that you can decorate and customize your stuff with. Cool. Gyroids are back. Don't know why they were missing in the first place. I can only imagine that Nintendo just were like, should we put the gyroids in there? No one likes them. And then they were gone, and people are like, where are the gyroids? It's like, oh, you care about the well, okay. So gyroids are back. That's nice. You can do morning stretches with your animal friends. And you can cook food that you can then eat, or I guess display indefinitely in your house. And there you go. Just some more stuff. Now, there is some paid DLC for $25. They're adding a new mode to Animal Crossing, which ships you off to a group of islands where you remember Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer? It looks kind of like that, where you're just designing a home for your animal friend, a getaway home for your animal friends. And if you design enough cool homes for your animal friends to their specifications, then you can, tweak the homes of the idiots who live on your island. I thought this was stupid, but I told my sister about it, and she's, ooh! I'm like, okay, so they hit the nail on the head on this one. Just because I don't care doesn't mean nobody else does. But what I found most interesting was I was reminded of the Nintendo Switch Online expansion, which includes the forthcoming Nintendo 64 and Sega Genesis games. At least a few of them. And I remember they didn't reveal at the price at the time. Now, a year of Nintendo Online, Nintendo Switch Online is $20, right? I don't remember what I guesstimated it would be. I said it's probably gonna be at least a $10 premium, so bump it up to $30. I mean, maybe they full on double it, $40 a month. It's $50. Oh yeah. Oh, it's more than double. $50. 30, from $20 to $50 for the privilege of playing a couple N60. The entire library? No. A couple, a select few Nintendo 64 and Genesis games. To be fair, if you buy the expansion pack, you also get the Happy Home Paradise DLC for Animal Crossing. So I mean, if you're an Animal Crossing fan and you want the DLC, may as well get the expansion because it's $25 either way. Well, um, extra $5 gets you the access to the N64 and Sega Genesis stuff. But wow, Nintendo, that was I mean, I remember guessing high, but yeah, that's way more than I thought that would be. So, yikes. Chicago says those prices for the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack are just ridiculous. Yeah. Now, if the virtual console were at least close to comprehensive libraries of the NES and SNES and 64 and Sega Genesis libraries, I think that would be a fair price. But they're not. So I am ill-impressed, Nintendo. But whatever. 1 month of Nintendo Switch Online is only $4, and I need to get that for the charity event so I can play your Super Mario Maker 2 levels. So get those in too. We've got plenty of weeks, no rush. But make sure you're working on your levels or finding levels that you want me to play. I think it's what is it? It's $10. Each $10 donation allows you to submit a Super Mario Maker 2 level for me to play, and a $50 donation for me to play a Super World. So there you go. Tiger says it's a ripoff. If you ask me, I'm better off busting out my old consoles to enjoy my older games. I mean, yeah, I mean, if you have the old consoles, but for new gamers, I like the idea. I like that some of the old games are available, but I don't know if the emulation's any good, and the selection does seem to be pretty paltry. I mean, it's logistically impossible to have literally every single thing there, but Nintendo could do better, is what I'm saying. Chicago says, cook eggs and feed them to the bird villagers. Bacon for the pig villagers, etc. There you go. Chicago says, I might consider the expansion pack if they include the expansion pack's DLC for other games, also make their service more stable. Yeah, Nintendo still seems to be about a decade behind the times when it comes to online service stuff. Viper says they need to release more games at a more constant rate rather than the drip feed we've been getting with the NES and Super NES. That's always been the problem with the virtual console services from Nintendo is, I mean, I get the idea of we don't just want to flood the marketplace with every single game ever, but, because then just everything would get lost. But calling it a drip feed is pretty apropos. It's drip, drip, drip. I mean, you get one month you might get a game, then you might get maybe 2 games, and then it seems like Nintendo completely forgets it has a virtual console. It's like, hey, Nintendo, lots more games you could be releasing here. Yeah, Nintendo could just be doing better. So, Siberian says, could just be me getting older and yelling at the clouds, but I feel Nintendo just hasn't been the same since the Wii U. Well, Iwata did pass, so there's that. Yamaguchi passed a few years before that, too, and they were big voices at Nintendo, so those were definitely the ends of the era of their eras. But, and I know the old guard at Nintendo is currently, I was going to say grooming, that's kind of not the greatest word. It's got some really yucky connotations to it. So, are training the new generation to run Nintendo, because they're Aonuma and Miyamoto, they're not all going, they're getting up there in years. They may want to retire at some point. So there's definitely going to be, and has started, a changing of the guard at Nintendo, so not necessarily a bad thing. I do appreciate that at the very least we don't hear of any, abuse scandals at Nintendo, and I hope that's just because there aren't any, rather than they're good at covering it up. I mean, I certainly hope it's the case that there just aren't any. Um, so that's refreshing for, major video game publisher. Chicago suggests mentoring instead of grooming. Yeah, that's a better one. Training, mentoring. Yeah. Grooming, not an incorrect word, but yeah, some ugly connotations with that word. So yeah. Especially when we're talking about some type of uh, a relationship between two people where the power is all on one side, right? A power imbalance between the two people. So, now, for example, if I am, I'm a QA specialist at work, and if we hire on another QA person, which we're not going to do because I have to do everything myself, then I'd be, training them to do the same thing I do, but we're on equal levels. So, still, grooming, yeah, that I don't like that word. That word's been ruined. Maybe someday it'll be okay, but yeah, it's kind of a gross word now, unfortunately. But yeah, I think we're good for tonight. I just pretty much just showed off a bunch of old crap. So so I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you'll join me tomorrow for the Sunday stream. Starts at noon Pacific Standard Time, and because it is the month of Halloween, even though Halloween only lasts a day, but it's October, so tomorrow we will be playing Luigi's Mansion 3 to get in the good old spooky mood. So I hope you'll join me tomorrow, noon Pacific Standard Time, for some Luigi's Mansion 3. And until then, enjoy the rest of your night. Make sure you eat dinner before you have dessert, and then brush your teeth thoroughly. Don't forget to floss. Okay, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.